Hello, welcome to the Wired for Success podcast. I'm your host, Janelle McKinnon. Are you stuck, lacking motivation, and a will to get up and win? If you have stumbled onto this life changing podcast, you will learn how to succeed in every area of life. Welcome to another fabulous Friday. I set a timer, so I try to get the podcast in at the correct time, 6 a.m. That's the time we agreed to. But sometimes, with these technology, sometimes there are glitches and there are delays. And I want to thank those who actually, someone messaged me and say, hey, what's up with the podcast? There I was thinking the podcast was already up. It was not up. There was a delay. And so I want to thank those of you who really do listen to the podcast and you make it your business to share. And I want to thank you for that support. So God bless you. Today, I want to talk a little bit on go on. Go on. In life, different things are going to happen. I often say that the one thing that unites us all as humans, it's pain. That's universal. It doesn't matter your age, whether you're a baby, the moment you enter this world, you're going to know about pain. And the moment you exit this world, which all of us have a day with the exiting, all right, we will encounter pain as we go through this thing called life. One of the things that God has placed on the inside of us is the ability to be resilient. It's the ability to bounce back when things go wrong, when you fall down, you feel that urge to get up again. The Bible says a righteous man may fall how many times now? Come on. And then you have to get back up. You have to. But that doesn't take away from the fact that getting up is hard. Going on is difficult. What are some places in your life or areas of your life that you are currently finding it hard to go on? Take a moment. This is something we must learn how to do, to ask ourselves questions and get answers. You don't have to run to people all the time for answers. I'm not saying that wisdom is not in the lives of people. If you didn't believe that, then you wouldn't be on here, this podcast, listening to me, because there's some wisdom that can be garnered here. And we bless the Lord for that. But where are you stuck? Where are you finding it hard to move on from? Have you lost someone? When we suffer grief, that is difficult. It is hard to move on. When you have lost, let's say, a child, no parent likes to bury their children. You'll always hear them say, my child was supposed to bury me. Why is it this way? Why did God allow my child to pass? There's a lot of grief there. There can be a lot of hurt and anger. You lost the love of your life. You feel stuck. Day like today, you're unable to move on. Some people really grieve hard and heavy, and they find it truly a task to move on to another love, to have hope again, coming out of a relationship that has really tarnished you and hurt you and broken you into a million pieces. Lots of us have been there. I know I have. And you're thinking, how do I move on from this place? God has placed resilience on the inside of each and every one of us. You have to use that flicker of hope that's on the inside of you, that little mustard seed faith that the Bible talks about, and hold on to it. And day by day, Sometimes it's moment by moment, second by second. That's how you go on. Is it hard? Of course it is. It's hard for the person next to you. It's hard for the person that is ahead of you. It's hard for the person coming behind you. But we must move on because we can't stay in one place. We can't. In the year 1929 in America, the stock market crash. It was cataclysmic. It was epic. All right. And when that happened, lots of people lost all their savings, all their money, their investment. Everything was tied up in the stock market for them. And it was so devastating to many. You can check this out. Go read up about it. It's good to be a student of history when you're in the world. Be a student of history. And as long as you're on this podcast, I want to encourage you to be a reader. All right? And people were jumping out of windows. That's how terrible it was. Hope was so dashed. People didn't see a way out. They could not leave that building, many of them, and go on in their life. They couldn't. They became stuck in their minds. They became hopelessly stuck. That suicide was the way out. Imagine the suicide numbers were so great that they called it, that period in time, the epidemic of suicide. That's how terrible it was. It was awful. People lost everything. And you see it again and again. Some people don't know how to bounce back when terrible things happen in life. They feel like they're done. And it's hopelessness that drives us to the place of suicide. Hopelessness. What's going on in your life right now that there is an area existing on the inside of you that you are losing hope in that area? It's bringing along a spirit of hopelessness. And God doesn't want you in that pit. One thing about God, He is a God of movement. And there's someone I listen to. I draw a lot of inspiration from them. She said, miracles happen in motion. You have to get up and move. I want to draw your attention to the children of Israel. Now, Moses was seen as the deliverer. He went back, he had to show off with Pharaoh. We know about the 10 plagues. And when they left there and they were in the wilderness for a very long time, you know what happened? They were stuck. They got stuck. And it was so bad once that they built a golden calf, and they said, you know what, we're gonna worship this calf because we don't know where Moses is at this point in time. We know Moses went up. If you read the story, go in the book of Exodus. He went to the Mount of Sinai, and the Lord was downloading the commandments to him. He wasn't going up there to play games. He was meeting with the Lord. And the people had no patience. And so they pressured Aaron. Aaron was the spokesperson for Moses. That was his brother. Aaron was Moses' brother. And the people pressured him. Not everyone can handle. It's not easy to lead people. That's a whole different topic. It's not easy to lead people. You have got to really be a lover of people. That's the first thing. If you're going to lead well, it just cannot be motivated by money. You just can't be motivated by fame or a desire to be dominant in people's lives. You have to have the heart for the people. at the same time, and you have to balance things out. Okay? And so Moses really did love the people because he petitioned the Lord and interceded so many times on their behalf when the Lord said, listen, I'm done with them. I'm going to put them in the trash, so to speak. I'm going to annihilate these people. Come on, Moses. Let's get rid of these clowns. Listen, God is a loving God. This we know. But I think a lot of times we forget how dreadful God can be. How dreadful he can be. We ought not to forget that he is a loving God. Let's ensure that we stay on the loving side of God and we don't allow the wrath of God to meet with us. And that can only happen when we live for him. We stay in the love of the Lord. Yeah, so anyhow, yeah, they complained one time. They complained how they remember when they were in Egypt and they were surrounded by the meat and the fish and the onion and the garlic. These people would rather be enslaved and treated badly, all because of food. All because of food. I know my ancestors didn't have no meat like that. No, every left things. That's what I know about slavery. Every left thing is what my ancestors had. So I don't know if they were making this up in their head. Like, I don't know. That's up for debate, right? But that's how terrible it became. That they were even thinking about going back instead of moving on. And the Lord had prepared a beautiful land for them, remember? The land flowing with milk and honey. God has prepared something beautiful for you. But you will never know that. You will never experience it if you don't go on. If you don't go on. If you don't get up from the place of defeat. If you don't wash your hands of the mess of yesterday, the past, and say, hey, I gotta go on. I gotta go on. I gotta go on. There's greater up ahead. There's something beautiful waiting beyond this place. I gotta go on. Yes, this relationship broke me. Yes, all these terrible things happen, but I can't stay here and wallow in self-pity. I gotta get up and I gotta go on. Yes, the job may have fired you. You got laid off. But you can't stay in the dark room with the blackout curtains and eating, stuffing yourself away, feeling sorry for yourself. You've got to wake up to hope again and know that God has better in store for you. And when one door closes, you better believe several doors are opening up for you. That's how you gotta build yourself up in these days. I'm telling you, because discouragement and disappointment is all around. You don't need to go far to be disappointed. For some of us, there's so much disappointment and discouragement experienced right at home among family members, even among your mate. Who knows? Right? Learn to move on. Don't get stuck. You know, one of the crazy things I believe happens too. That's why when you're running for something, don't go back. They say lots of, well, I can speak from the place of women. That's where I learn a lot, of course. Was watching this documentary, or is a docu-series, either one. And they say lots of women who experience domestic violence, they often go back. And it's because a lot of times out of the memory, you know, and the hope that these people will change. I don't know the percentage, but rarely do these people change. It really takes a transformation. And it takes a lot, because don't say, of course God can do it. Sometimes these people need Jesus and therapy and lots of therapy, and lots of men don't subscribe to therapy. They don't subscribe to getting the counsel and the help that they need, because even saved men, even men in the church, have been guilty of putting their hands on their wives, on their mates. This thing has happened. And for some people, it's happening to them, but they wouldn't dare speak out because of shame and because of judgment. So we need to remove the stigma that is attached to this and deal with things as they come. And let's not put anybody on any pedestal, because you don't know what some people are guilty of and doing behind closed doors and behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that to take away from anybody, because a lot of people get a lot of stuff going on. And it's easy to look at your neighbor and to say, hey, look at that. Look at that beam in your eye, when you have a whole forest in your eyes. A whole forest. But you're going to look at your neighbor and say, hey, look at that splinter in your eye, when you have the whole forest in your eyes. So let's be careful. And when we observe things, instead of being ready to trash talk and pull down people because they have gone but oh, she's stupid, she this, she does, she does. Yes, sometimes you wonder where is the intelligence, but that's because people become blinded. I wouldn't say by love. It's trauma. Those of you who do reading and psychology, you know, there's something called trauma bond. People become bonded with their abuser. Some people become victims again and again and again. Like, you find people who've been raped or abused. You see, it doesn't happen once in their life. You'll see like multiple people abuse them, multiple people rape them. Like, there is a pattern and there is a demonic stronghold that occurs in such things. I don't know why I went off there, but let me bring you back. Forgive me for that, breaking transmission. But we come back to go on. And so don't be like the children of Israel, okay? Do not be reminiscing about the past. The past wasn't that good. The man, the woman that treated you badly, they weren't that good. Don't let the memories fool you. You have to move on. The child, the love of your life, may have departed. You're grieved. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have your moment. But you have got to get up and live again. You've got to live. You've got to go on. Who knows? There may be a beautiful... Now, who knows? There is a beautiful mate waiting on the other side for you. There is so much a better job for you if you've lost your job. There is a better blueprint for you to build a bigger, better, greater business if you have lost your business. And that's what I believe those businessmen or those investors who jumped out of all those buildings, they didn't realize that, hey, look, I have life. I can go again. Don't allow hopelessness to grip your heart so much to the degree that you jump out of windows, that you overdose on pills, that you cut your wrists, slit parts of you because you don't see a way out. As long as there is life, there is hope. Stay in faith, stay in God, and go on. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Soon I have some announcements coming up for you on Monday. So be sure to listen to the podcast on Monday. I have some good news to share with you. Those of you who may want to learn more about that, tune in, all right?